Man in this relationship. Oh no.
Oh, shit. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
My name's Jim. This is Stimulated Simic. Simic, and my dog is barking. And Chris Bacon. So the chat forced me to do this stream, so I'm here against my will. As you can see, I'm a hostage. So
Yeah.
we were going to talk about, we have some topics to talk about, either the stuff with P. Diddy, or we could talk about the Anunnaki, or we could talk about the government's conspiracy to sell drugs to people, or we could talk about the Monopoly game and how it was rigged.
So, Jim, what you're saying is you're like the Justin Bieber of streamers. You were held hostage and forced into this against your will.
Well, it can happen. You know,
You got turned out by your chat.
It can happen. It can
But
happen.
Dave's chat, which was the funniest part.
Yeah, it was Dave's chat telling me to go stream and we'll come and watch. And I think they all lied to me because I don't see any of them here. Kevin Pastramo.
There was 4 of them. I haven't checked the stream yet. We can go over whatever you want. I always like hearing you talk about the Anunnaki, even though I feel like 90% of what you're saying is tongue in cheek.
Mostly what I'm saying is tongue in cheek, but so we have the most shocking scenes.
When Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs.
The freak-offs?
Freak-offs.
That's some nasty shit.
Man, I just don't... We're all grown men here. Sex is fun, right? It's a fun, enjoyable task for you to partake in. But doing something like that just makes my skin crawl. I don't get it.
I don't know what like I could see if it was I mean I don't know, I can't see like if it was a bunch of girls and dudes and you know whatever, but if it was just a bunch of dudes. But you never see
girls in these pictures. You never see girls in these pictures. It's always 5, 6 dudes, and that you scan the background, you never see any women.
Well, it seems like from what I've heard, of course, this is all just conjecture and what you hear and what you read. He was using people like Beyonce and J-Lo to lure these men to these places.
To get their cheeks clapped.
Right. So, I mean, like, he wasn't interested in getting with women. He was using the women to get these guys to these parties and then drugging them and then having this
clapping cheeks.
So, like, do you remember the movie Get Him to the Greek?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, so basically, that was his life, was his, you know, like that, what he played in. You know, remember how he acted?
Yeah. Oh, no. Red Scorpion's here.
Yeah. At least somebody decided to come. I mean, show up.
At Justin Tells You.
Yeah, that remember the kid that came in?
Justin. Yeah.
Oh, man, Chris, we had this guy just all of a sudden popped into the chat. It's like, hey, send me the link. I want to come in. I want to talk about all this nostalgia stuff. And Dave's like, okay, send him the link. And I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, I pulled up his page. I'm like, I don't know if we want to send this guy the link. I'm like, I don't know. I watched one of his videos. I don't think we want to send him a link. Dave's like, oh, no, go ahead. So we did. And it was a lot of fun.
Well, good. You never know who's going to show up, I guess.
Man, it was wild. That kid, nice kid, just wanted to talk.
Just wanted to talk to someone. He lives in a home.
Well, I'm glad he lives in a home. That's good.
Well,
like
not
a home for people.
Like a home for people that can't live on their own.
Yeah.
Like in a shelter?
No, like
I wouldn't call it a shelter. I would say maybe like a group
like
home.
like an old folks home, but for mentally impaired.
Yeah.
I forget what they call them. It's called something.
An asylum?
No,
they
not
don't
like
have
that.
asylums anymore. Reagan ruined that.
But yeah, but he was, you know what? He was, for some reason, he kept sniffing a sock.
Like on stream?
Yes. And I thought maybe, I'm like, dude, okay. So I started like thoughts going through my head, like, okay, maybe he has some kind of like, did something like sniffed, huffed,
Airplane
did something
glue.
and it affected
Yeah,
him. And that's
model
why he's
glue
living in the home. So I'm like, is there something in this sock? And
Yeah.
no, there was nothing in it. He just was sniffing socks because he likes to sniff socks.
Uh-huh.
Which, hey, man, more power to you.
And,
Yeah.
and this was today?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, this was today.
Okay.
It's one of my more interesting streams I've ever been on. And I've been on quite a few with,
Well,
wild people.
Well, I'm assuming a student of God will have clipped that, and
Oh, I hope so.
I do too because
Well, I'm sure they clipped the pictures that I
I want to see this. I don't know if Dave's going to have this on replay or something or wherever this was, but I would very much like to see.
it's on my channel too.
Oh, the guy's
Actually, I could pull it up. Actually,
It was
I mean, I don't want to disparage it because it sounds
no,
like
you know what?
it
He was
a
actually,
nice
it was,
guy, but
he was,
sniffing socks, I guess.
he was
it's a nice kid, man.
nice kid. I just
he likes stuff that we like.
Like when you're saying a kid, what?
33.
33,
Oh, okay.
but he's younger than all of us. So yeah, I mean, he just likes what he likes, man. He likes the stuff that we do, and he just wanted to talk. Is all it was. It was,
Well, I mean,
it was
if
nice.
he's in a setting where he doesn't have the opportunity to talk with people very often, I'm assuming he was probably pretty happy to have that opportunity.
Yeah, I think he got in trouble for being up.
yeah, I thought somebody came in and yelled at him.
Yeah.
No.
Told him to get off.
Yeah. And we were like, is somebody there with you? And he was like, no, nobody's here with me. I just didn't know what to do because I'm usually being vulgar and loud.
You want the link, Blue Gundam? I did not. I just did what Dave told me to do.
Come on, Gundam. Get in here.
Oh, he doesn't have a. Oh, I could put the link in the fucking my chat. It doesn't really matter. Let's get stupid.
Might as well, right?
Yeah. There you go. All are welcome.
I think that's probably one of the better things to do, though, when you are just starting out streaming.
Yeah.
You might have something wild happen and draw people so you can get. You've got your watch hours already, right?
Me, no.
How many do you need? 500?
3,000 watch hours.
3,000. 500
Yeah.
is. Where did I see 500 at the other day?
It's 500 subs to get
But that's what it was.
to get super chats, and then you need 1,000.
Yeah. Because me and
Well, do not. I don't want you to come on if you're in the shower, Blue Gundam. But
Why?
after
You
you, as
wanted,
long as you're dressed, come on.
you wanted old man Dave in the shower. What's the difference?
Well, that was different. That's old man Dave.
I get it. Yeah, it makes sense. Peak performance versus Blue Gundam. I get it. But no, yeah, no, that's why I was looking at that the other day because me and Wizard are talking about doing a few things. A guy from Tony's show, and I was like, well, I guess I need to start trying to upload something on my channel then if I'm gonna, start using it. And I was like, Jesus, that's a lot of stuff I've got to do. You're gonna come on sniffing a fresh pair of Fruit of the Looms. That's right.
All right.
You don't use your.
I'm gonna pin the StreamYard link in the top of the chat, so it's there. And
You don't use your channel that much, do you, Bacon?
No, not at all.
All right.
Did you do?
I have to take my dog out. She is making noises right now like crazy. So you guys want to talk, or you want? What do you want
Yeah,
me to do?
sure. You
Yeah,
talk
we
All
can
about
right.
this
chat.
pervert
Or do you want me
pedophile
to
P
pull? I
Diddy.
mean, you want me to pull something up, or you guys, someone want to pull
No,
up
we can.
something?
No, we're good. Go
No,
ahead.
All
we're
right.
yeah, we're fine. No, I don't use my channel hardly ever. I
I
figured
mean,
out quite a while ago, and it was reinforced by people who will not be named,
yeah,
that I'm
yeah, I
not
got
very
you.
good at this, which I agree 100%. It's just not my thing. I don't.
You know what's crazy about that? Like, I messed with you on Twitter and we talked or whatever. I think you could be good at it.
No, I'm not entertaining. I'm too factual. I
Yeah,
don't
I do get that.
deal
Your
in
your
I don't
dryness is
deal
what's
in
funny.
hypotheticals very well. I don't
Yeah,
really get anything out of, even though like the rip of I will never, I'll say it just for the sake of example here. I'm not going to
yeah,
refer to these people as ripatards. I'm
yeah.
not going to refer to, people by derogatory slurs, especially people I don't know. Unless, they're going to come after me directly, but still I'm not going to do that. I mean, I find that to be incredibly juvenile, and
Yes.
there's nothing that's going to enhance my life in any way, shape, or form by participating in that sort of thing. Um, do I find it entertaining? Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things I find entertaining that I'm not going to partake in.
Yeah.
So
Makes
that's
sense.
one of the reasons I don't do it. And again, like whenever I do go on streams typically or talk about Rippaverse type stuff, it's strictly like, hey, this is what it's doing, this is how it's performing, this is what I think about it from a very objective standpoint. As far as the other stuff, I don't care enough about like the comic books or anything else like that. And I'll say this, if Eric July didn't live right down the street from me and I never met the man,
You wouldn't care.
I would have never come across any of this stuff. And the only
Really.
reason I know about any of this stuff is when I was doing my analysis, I went and again looked at Alpha Core, and I hadn't looked at it for probably 6 or 7 months. So I was like, what's going on with this? So I went and looked for these people who were doing this. And I went on Tony's stream. I was like, hey man, you know, I'm Eric July's neighbor. Why do you hate this guy so much? He was like, well, okay, come on. So that's the only reason I found stuff. In the absence of
Rippaverse
that,
and
yeah,
detracted.
the last thing I would be doing would be following this stuff in any way, shape, or form.
But you got to say,
But
it is entertaining when you're sitting there and you've got nothing else to do and you're waiting on somebody or you're waiting on a meeting to start. You get on Twitter and you go, these guys are so stupid.
yeah, I mean,
It's great.
I think the is when you are a working adult, like I travel a lot for
Mhm.
business, and I'm sitting in a hotel room with downtime, kind of like what Dave does.
Yeah.
Like, what else are you doing? You're not watching TV like in hotel rooms
No.
anymore. So just like you're on your phone or on your laptop. And I'm not a big movie guy. I don't watch a lot of TV, and like I'll
Yeah.
read quite a bit. But then you
Yeah. But
see,
you love
stuff
football
like
season,
this.
though. I see
Yeah,
you
it's
on
football
Twitter.
season, so I'll
Yeah.
I'll watch games and sports and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a form of like cheap entertainment. I guess it would be like the equivalent of people reading the National Enquirer back in the 80s and 90s.
I
And like,
describe it as personal Jerry Springer. You know what I mean? Because you build sort of a relationship, for lack of a better phrase, with these people on Twitter. You
uh-huh.
interact with them. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And then you
Hello.
shit sling with them a little
There you
bit.
go.
And
There you go,
it's
Jim.
personal Jerry Springer, in my opinion.
So
Yeah, it is to a large degree for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I guess the thing is like, I don't take it seriously enough. And I guess about the space itself, I just don't give a shit enough about it to, get involved with people like say a Sturgis and like say, hey, you're retarded because of, art or storylines. I just don't give a shit. I just
Yeah,
don't.
I get exactly where you're coming from. I see it sort of both ways like that, but I also the art form's dying. Jim, how long have you been collecting comics?
I've been collecting comics since the '80s.
All right. So since the 80s, I started reading comics probably, it was in the 80s, but I remember wanting my granddad to take me to buy specific books in the early 90s. And I've seen the art form change and decline, and we're losing something Americana there, and I don't want it to falter like that, if that makes sense.
So I just took the dog out, and
Yeah.
I noticed the moon in the sky.
It's there. Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
And but it's something that just crossed my mind. I know this is going to sound stupid, but why is the moon a half a moon right now? Like it's a straight line across the center of the moon. Now, I know I don't believe the earth is flat, but why wouldn't it be round, the shadow?
Well, it is round most of the time.
I know, but right now, if you look, it's a straight line
It's a
across
half
the
moon?
moon. Yeah, it's like a straight half moon. It's not a crest. You know what I mean?
What,
It's not
Jim? You just blew my mind, because I don't think, like, I know the reason they say, but
because normally, I mean, like the Earth is round, so the shadow should always be round that's covering the moon. You know what I mean? It should be.
Yeah. Are you
the
saying
shape.
you may not?
I'm saying
believe in
I
a
don't
flat
understand.
Earth,
I'm confused. Like,
but you believe in a half flat Earth.
no, I'm saying something. It's just like, what the fuck? Why is it a straight line across the moon right now?
Well, I would say that's probably like your sight perception and what's visible. I'm sure it's got some sort of slight arc to it if you were looking
Here's
at it
Chris sweeping for Big Moon now.
through a telescope or something.
Mm-hmm.
The moon is flat. Chris is right. The moon is flat. Not Chris Bacon, Chris in the chat. Look at you, man. You've got all kinds of viewers now. You got like a half dozen.
Something. Yep, the planet is about to have a magnetic flip. It's ongoing as we speak. It's slowly moving. Now, how long it's going to take? Is it going to be, the next 20 years, the next 50 years, the next 100 years? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's wobbling more and more, right? It's more every year.
And our magnetic field is weakening.
Yeah, too bad Nikola Tesla isn't still around. He'd be able to explain it. He'd probably be able to tell you when. They say it's fast. You think, what?
The magnetic pole shift and everything. Which we can talk about that
we can talk about anything.
Jim, we were having an
brother.
important conversation before you interjected about the fucking moon.
Oh, sorry. I was just looking because I was like, man, I went outside at the dog and I'm looking at the moon. I go, now I know I've seen it before, but I never. Well, it's going to accelerate the flip. It's not going to destroy everything, Real Rossman. It's going to, because it hasn't destroyed everything in the past. It's probably what caused Atlantis to get, subsided and destroyed all the stuff and destroyed the civilization that actually built the pyramids and the Sphinx and Serpent Mound and all these other things around the the world that people keep seeing, and like whoever built Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah. The Nazca lines or
the
whatever they're called.
Yeah, the Nazca lines and all that. Yeah.
You gotta, those are really baffling, because why in the world there's nothing around. It's not like you can see them from a mountain range, right? Like you have to be directly over them. So they felt like either they were signaling somebody or something, or they really were signaling somebody or something. Like, there's no other way to explain it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I did walk out one time, speaking of like Anunnaki, aliens, all that crazy stuff. The one thing that I ran into, I came outside and I've seen it twice, and I looked up and you could see there was a star and then another one and another one, and they formed a perfect octagon. And I was like, well, that's weird. I don't know of any octagon, astrological things up there. And then I came out about a year later, almost around the same time of year, and saw them again. And I can't find anything on it.
Okay. So the Nephilim. All right. So we're gonna talk about Diddy, or we're gonna talk about Nephilim and stuff and aliens.
I'm game for
Diddy's
whatever,
kind of
man.
like an alien, so I mean, it's either
He
or.
might be a lizard person.
If anybody was a lizard person, I would say it's Sean Diddy Combs. Because that
Dude,
dude's
oh my
crazy.
God, I saw this video today on Sam Tripoli's channel with this guy talking about basically like Nephilim and stuff, and I don't know, basically saying that there's 13 families that have been controlling the planet for thousands of years.
Yeah. Never heard that conspiracy theory before.
You know, and
it's supposedly like Obama is related to the Bushes, and the Bushes are one
well,
of the
Obama's
families.
mom and Obama's mom was in the CIA, and her family is connected to people, and so yeah, let's see.
The freak off, a term that has now not only become synonymous with Sean Diddy Combs, but it is at the center of his federal sex crimes case. We're going to explain some of the major accusations and details surrounding the freak offs and what this could mean for the indicted rapper. Welcome.
Well, he's fucked, I think, right?
He
don't
has
know. I
been
mean, like,
fucked at least.
the thing is, when you have stuff like this, right? I mean, like, the world is a very interconnected place. And for this type of thing to have been going on for literally decades, like at least 2 decades, probably at least since the 90s, and for it to finally be coming to light in the way that it is, you've got to have an organized level of information suppression that is just unheard of. And for this to finally come out, it seems like, what did he do to the powers that be to piss them off enough for them to finally come after him? Same thing with like Jeffrey Epstein. What did they finally do, or how did they finally get out of line that this is now become a thing? Because
Usually,
he must have stepped out of line in some way. He did something, and so they just decided.
Yeah, because he's not the ring, just like Epstein. He's not the ringleader of this.
no.
He's kind of like probably the person who's the fall guy, the scapegoat. But he's not the mastermind of all this shit. He's not the guy, running things. Just like Jeffrey Epstein wasn't the guy running things. He was just the puppet, put in charge to run all the stuff. He's just like the organizer. I don't believe Sean Diddy Combs is the mastermind of any of this shit. But yeah, who did he piss off that they're finally like, all right, man, we got to take you down. And just to feed the public, we're going to have to take down a few other people too. Whoever ends up being.
But do you think it's possible in any way, shape, or form that this is payback from Biden from getting pushed out?
It could be. That's what I was about to say. So Epstein got arrested in 2019, right? And then, he was, quote unquote, hung himself, right before an election year. This is going on right during an election. It very well could be. It could be he didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that Biden wasn't happy about what happened because it said that it was Obama and Kamala and Diddy's obviously connected to Obama and Kamala.
Yeah.
And the people in LA, all those people in Hollywood and stuff. So.
Yeah. I mean, he stepped on somebody's toes or didn't pay somebody something, or, freaknicked with the wrong person. Something happened. And they said, well, go ahead and pull his card, or it's sleight of hand, right? Like, if you pay attention to like big stories when they come out, start paying attention to more political news.
When did they raid his? Didn't they raid his house like months ago?
Yeah, it's been 2-3 months ago now, I think.
Like, why the fuck didn't he boogie?
He did, and then he just came back.
Yeah, but I mean, he should have fucking went to the Maldives and just hung out there.
he decided to come back for some stupid reason.
Yeah, I mean, none of this stuff like ever plays right whenever you think about it, because I think, I think now it's like things are a conspiracy theory until they're not, right?
Yeah,
And whether it's, like elections or whatever the case may be, who knows? Like, it's what, 6 weeks before an election. Who
yeah,
the hell knows what's going to come out or get leaked between now and then before this election that may completely, cripple a political campaign or take attention away from, again, an election and what's going on.
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, I honestly think more people probably give a shit what happens to this guy than they care about the presidential election.
exactly.
And whether it, like on election night, are they going to break news that Diddy killed himself or something like that so they can count votes at 3 a.m. again behind closed doors? Who the hell knows? But I don't think any of this stuff is by chance. I don't think,
No,
no, I just don't. And
have either
yeah,
one
the
of you
guy's
ever
a perv.
lived?
Yeah, he's quote unquote, under arrest and justice is going to be served or whatever. But it's all calculated. It's all by design. Nothing happens by accident at
Yeah,
this level, because there's too many people in too high places that knew what was going on, didn't care, and that's why people are pulling up clips of, like Bieber going to all these different, interviews and how he acted around these folks, and
yeah, it's
saying like,
wild.
yeah, it makes a lot of sense now, and how all these celebrities seem to know like that kid was basically just getting passed around at a like a blunt at a Snoop Dogg concert, and no one gave a fuck. And that's, I mean, like, and you think about it, like most people were left to think like Bieber was kind of losing it. He went and got all those tattoos. He was like kind of strung out. Dude, I mean, for him to be, I guess, in the place that he's in is almost like miraculous when you think about it. And I'm just waiting to find out too that, Brittany got turned out by this guy too. That's why she went all fucking crazy. I mean,
Yeah. Well, what I heard about Brittany, that it was just she got tired of the paparazzi messing with her, and she didn't want to do anything anymore, so she shaved her head and acted crazy. Uh, which I think now it was true. You know what I mean? Like she was slipping a little bit. Um, so they would just leave her alone because she wouldn't be the pretty girl next door anymore.
Yeah, I think the real Rossman is right. I think they drug, like Kanye talked about it. They try to put him on drugs so they can control him.
Yeah. Well, they did for a minute, if you remember, because he came out.
Look at
And
Prince and Michael Jackson, and
yeah, Michael Jackson shit's crazy too. Like man, what I was gonna ask a second ago was, have either of you ever lived in like an actual small town? Everybody knows everybody in these small towns, and the billionaires club, right? These 800, 900 million dollar people, these multi-billionaire people, that is an even smaller town than where I came from. Like there's only so many of these, there's a handful of these people in the entire world. Do you not think they don't really know everybody?
yeah, I mean, like that's the same thing. If you don't live in a small town, like if you're in business and you make your way up
Yeah,
towards the upper echelon of your profession, it's the same way. Like I'm in the insurance industry, right? But
yeah,
when you get to a certain point, everybody knows everybody. All these people at all these different companies, they know who each other are because you're working with these people all the time. Um, and it's just a constant thing that you start seeing the same names over and over and over. Everybody goes to the same functions, everybody goes to the same conferences.
yeah,
um and it's, yeah, and people start to hang out and get to know each other's business and stuff like that.
yep,
And that's why, like, a lot of people who are like in the upper echelons of business, like, aren't active, say for example, like on LinkedIn and stuff like that. They stay away from all that shit, and everything's kind of hush hush and behind closed doors.
yeah,
And you have your groups that you talk with, or like you'll go to the conference and then you'll have like the after conference, so to say, where people are getting together and with people that they, trust or
And
at
then
least think they should,
yeah,
and talk about, business on a deeper level, or what people might consider insider information, whatever the case may be.
yeah.
But yeah, like these people, yeah, they all know what the hell is going on. I have to believe.
No, I mean they have to. There's no way. There was a guy that was worse than Epstein that basically done the same thing, and I cannot for the life of me remember his name anymore. And he's also been caught. He done it to little boys though, and
Mhm.
he's a billionaire guy. And I remember um, I when I heard about it, like I Googled him, and you couldn't find anything on the criminal stuff. You just would find like little like jabs that people would take at him in news reports, like
Mhm.
sort of talking about him. And I wish I could remember his name because supposedly he's way worse than Epstein ever even thought about being.
Yeah, I mean, like, and then you look at people who are, I guess, all things considered, fairly normal, like Heidi Fleiss in her
No, it
Black
wasn't Jimmy
Book.
Seville Snakes.
But you look at people like that, and their
I
clients never see their client list never sees the light of day.
yeah, I knew a girl who worked for Heidi Fleiss.
Really?
Yeah, I went to school with her.
Damn. No, it is a small world.
But yeah, I don't think there's any, unless Justin Bieber himself comes out and says something, just like Corey Feldman and Corey Haim were trying to tell people how fucked up shit was. And people are like, yeah, whatever, dude. You're just kind of weird and crazy, or just looking for attention.
Like
Um,
Epstein.
but unless Bieber comes out with an interview and does like a tell-all, nobody's ever going to find this shit out. And the chances are Bieber's buried under more NDAs than a fucking Rippaverse employee.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, he's buried under NDAs, and he's also getting money shoved in his face to be quiet. And I know eventually, you say that's enough money, but then the moment you say that, they go, "Well, you remember when you done this?" See, that's where they get you because Puff Daddy has the videos.
yeah, I don't think he wants to. He's going to be like, dude, I got a fail switch. You fucking do that shit, and a video of you getting
Yeah,
punched in the ass by Bruno is going to be all over every porn
yeah,
website in the world.
yeah. And that dude doesn't say shit. Yeah, these conspiracy theories run deep, and I think Jim has it right. I mean, I think he hit the nail on the head. It's probably some sort of payback politically because Diddy has been political since I can remember. Vote or die,
Hmm.
back in the '90s, early 2000s, like, and he's been pretty staunch Democrat from everything I've seen. So all of these people, Beyonce, Jay-Z, all of them are connected to the Obamas. Dumbass throwing those parties like he did at the White House, treating it like it was a Freaknik.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I just think we've seen too many examples of these people just being kind of completely untouchable and completely above the law. And he's the fall guy.
I mean, y'all
But
are on Twitter. I know y'all saw it. Everybody kept posting. Nothing's going to happen. He's either going to be Epstein or nothing's going to happen.
well, I think too they count on that. I think they do the things that they do to set the narrative and the expectation with the general public that yeah, Diddy's getting paraded out here, but the expectation from the public is everybody who's involved with this is going to get away with it. And I think they 100% count on it because they worked for decades setting those expectations that people in power are above the law. Nothing ever happens to them. So they have their fall guy, in this case Diddy,
Yeah.
but they have set the expectations that yeah, nothing's going to happen to them and no one's going to be surprised about it. Whether it was again like a Heidi Fleiss, an Epstein, a Diddy, none of this shit will ever see the light of day.
See, that's what I'm doing to Jim, actually. Like, I'm becoming better and better friends with him and going to keep coming on panels with him until I get him to do something illegal with me, and he's going to be my fall guy. That's my whole plan.
They'll have Jim
Yeah.
doing lines of coke on stream or something.
Who? What?
Jim, get
Oh.
off Twitter. Run your show.
I was listening to you guys. I was listening. John Fetterman says he's going to vote for Trump. I think he just was misspoke or whatever, but it's funny.
John Fetterman is halfway based, man. Some of the stuff he does is, I'm like, wow, like, I'm not mad about that.
I don't know. The dude, just something's up. I think there's like 5 or 6. Did you ever see that? Hold on, let me share this tab.
You talking about the conspiracy theory where he's
But look at this
people?
is all the different Fettermans.
I've seen that. I took one of those pictures. Took one of those pictures and said, "I'm here to eat boogers and vote the wrong way, and I'm all out of boogers." And people got pissed at me when I posted it.
Well, that's like people who post different pictures of Joe Biden saying like he's got different ears in some.
The
and all this
Fetterman
other
one's
stuff.
wild though. Like if you look at that, that's not just a man gaining weight over time. Like that's the Joe Biden thing's crazy. I'm sorry, I can't get behind that. Look at his ears. He gets face work done. People, calm down. And they pull.
Yeah, when they do stuff and they pull your skin back.
Had a
different things.
facelift. Yeah.
Yeah, it does stuff. And he's probably had Botox and everything else.
Oh, for sure.
So let's get back into this and let's see what they say.
The Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. There is one term that has gone viral since the indictment of Sean Diddy Combs, more than anything else. You've heard it here on...
What do you think it is, the one term?
Pedo.
Freak off. Freak off. Freak off.
I was going to say cheeks clapped, but okay.
Okay, let's see.
On Sidebar, you've heard it amplified in the media. It is called a freak off.
I win.
Jim won.
He saw the
Alleged
video.
sexual performance that is at the center of this criminal case facing the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs. And I'm going to go over some of the...
Now, here's what I don't understand. I'm not going to defend Diddy at all. I have no idea what he's even accused of, really, because some of it sounds really bad. But did Diddy he didn't force anybody to do anything, did he?
Well, I think drugging people is considered rape. I don't think there's anything consensual about.
But did he give people drugs that they didn't know about, or because the whole thing with Bill Cosby, all that stuff, like,
all right, so
did he put it in people's drinks, or
well,
did they
Cat
willingly
Williams
take it?
Was like they were spiking the champagne and all that shit.
So there's a lawsuit right now,
and even the cops were saying that they would, get these people under the influence so they could keep them going for days. And by the end of the freak off or whatever they call it, they were giving them like IVs and shit to help them recuperate.
So this all started in 2023. There was a lawsuit filed in Manhattan, right? A woman who alleges that Combs raped her in 2003 when she was 17. What got his house raided, though, was in February of 2024. A fifth lawsuit was brought against him by Rodney Little Rod Jones. The case alleges that Combs drugged and sexually assaulted him and forced him to have sex with sex workers. So, and a month later, that's when his home was raided.
Yeah, and they were saying like he's over there in the corner beating his dick watching that shit.
Yeah. Bad boy. Yeah. Yeah, bad boy.
Well, yeah,
Get
if he
that,
has
give
tapes,
me that
like,
baby lotion.
because fucking Epstein had tons of tapes, and they hit that shit.
Well, the cops were saying that in his house, there was a camera literally in every room of that house, that they found cameras everywhere.
So maybe that's what happened. Maybe Diddy was the replacement for Epstein, because Epstein was more like Clinton's guy.
Yeah.
And so then Obama had to get his own guy, so it was Diddy to get the blackmail in the dirt. And then Biden's like pushed him out of the way. I don't know, because like they weren't sure, because in 2016, if you remember, they thought Clinton was going to win. So they were like, oh, okay, you'll have your blackmail dude. We got ours. And then, Clinton and Obama. But then when Clinton didn't win, they're like, well, we're going to get rid of Clinton's blackmail dude. We got to get rid of this guy.
Well, see, they screwed everything up anyway, and I think it was a plan, right? So just hear me out for a second. In the 60s and the 70s, being gay was taboo. Majorly taboo. Wait, what?
Somebody is in... Hello, who is Evan?
Evan?
Hello, Evan.
A Diddy sympathizer.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my actual name.
Oh, it's Blue Gundam?
Yeah, yeah,
thought-
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
My bad. I didn't think about that.
You doxed yourself.
So
Well,
what
I'm not
saying was-
putting my full name out there.
Well, no, I'm just saying. I was like, at first, I was like, should I put this person in? I don't know. What's
Evan
going
Blue
on? I'm
Gundam.
waiting for something. I had my finger on the remove thing. They're ready to go clunk.
So
I got
what I'm
a
saying-
stock right beside me.
Oh, well, don't sniff it.
Don't be Rama Rama.
Don't be Rama Rama. That's what I told the kid. I was like, don't
I
be
know.
Rama Rama. And I thought he knew what I was talking about. Like, at first, I thought maybe he's trolling.
No,
I
That's
don't
what
think
it seemed
so.
like. No, at first,
but-
that's what it seemed like. And then it was like, after I talked to him more, I was like, oh, no, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I just got off my last break at work and I turned on your guys' stream and then I heard that and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then I was like, who the hell is this dude? I'm like, why'd they let him on the stream?
Well, because
And
Dave
it's
said
just-
send him the link.
And then
that's
I turned on my phone for a second to look at the stream and I saw him like sniffing sock for a second. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh my god. Yeah, it was a wild. I didn't know what to do. I felt like Ricky Bobby when he didn't know what to do with his hands. Like that's how I felt entirely. Just didn't know.
Yeah, I
what to
could
do.
tell because you were talking to him like he was like 10 years old or something.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't because I'm very vulgar and I'm pretty boisterous, and I was just like, "Hey, pal."
I couldn't tell him like does he have like autism or something or what?
I don't know. I'm sure he's got to be autistic a little bit, and I don't know, maybe something else.
So I don't want to say anything mean about him because I mean he seemed like he was
No,
nice. It was
really
like,
nice
Very
and
nice,
everything.
yeah.
I just think possibly, like he said, his grandma had just passed away. That's why he was in this home. So I'm imagining he was living with his grandmother, and then needed somewhere to go, and so I was like, oh god. But
Yeah, so he's at a group home of some sort instead.
yeah.
So yeah.
So, but I don't know.
Anyway.
He wants to come on tomorrow night, so I'm going to send him the link again tomorrow night just for Dave.
be careful he don't like whip something out on stream accidentally.
Well, that's what the dump button's for.
You don't want to have a Gavin McGinnis FNT situation.
Oh,
I
God.
don't, I don't think it was real. I think it was fake, but maybe
had
it was
to be.
real. I don't know.
I would hope to God it was if I was him.
So
I was laughing though, stimulated when you were asking him about Sonichu. I was like, "Are you calling him Christian?"
I was just, I didn't know if like they, maybe because a lot of autistic people love Chris Chan, dude. Like a
Oh,
lot
God.
of people. And I know he gets a lot of trolls, but he's like an autistic icon from what I've
He should
found
not
out.
be.
I
He
agree.
should be the example of how not to be as an autistic person.
Chris Chan is the reason why we're in this dimensional merge that we're in right now.
yeah, it's not good.
Who's
No.
Chris Chan?
Yeah, we're about to.
You don't
mess
know
on
who
it.
Chris Chan is.
No.
Jim,
I don't. I
Jim,
I
you know
tried to
there's like a
explain it to
12-hour
Dave
long
and Jim, but
documentary, right?
it didn't go well.
Like, what's their bit? What's the?
All right, so Chris Chan, in a nutshell, was an autistic guy who started probably one of the first big YouTubers ever. And basically, he loved Sonic and Pikachu to the point where he created his own character, Sonichu, and would write comics and review his comics and write music about his world. And fast forward about a decade of him doing that and people trolling him. He was stupid famous on the internet, still is to this day. He decides to become Christian Chandler, becomes, what's his name now?
Christine Chandler.
Christine Chandler.
Oh.
And he's now trans, and he gets arrested for
Doing dirty
relations
things with his mom.
with his mother.
Oh. Some like
Yeah,
Oedipus type
incest.
shit, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think didn't he? Didn't he get talked into it by people
Yes,
from
there
like
there was a girl who pretended to like him. So he always
That
had
girl's a
crushes
piece of
on,
work.
yeah, you know, like
and she talked him into doing it because he's autistic and his mother had dementia. And that girl should be in prison. Personally,
I think
I
it would
mean,
have happened anyway.
Okay.
maybe, man, but like,
If you listen to the phone calls and like the text message between, I think her name's like Christina or something, or
Christine Chandler at that time.
Yeah,
Are you
I
talking
or
was
about
no,
the
the
girl?
girl he
Yeah, I
was
think her
talking
name
to. I
was
can't remember
Christine.
her
Yeah,
name.
it's been years since I listened to the phone call of her
Yeah,
like
it's been
trying to
like a
urge
couple
him into
years
it,
for me.
okay.
and I'm
I'm
just
sorry
like,
I asked.
no, man, like it is probably one of the greatest internet stories of
That
all
doesn't
time.
sound very great. That sounds pretty fucked up.
Not great, like
Great,
a good
not in a
way,
way
but
that's
just like
good, but just great in how like interesting it is. And
it
I
is.
don't. I
It
don't
it's
think
is.
just,
that's
it's a car
interesting.
crash you don't want to look away from.
Yeah,
I think
like
I
he
could look
was.
away from some dude diddling his mom. Sorry.
Well, you don't have to
Well,
look that far
there's
in the
literally
documentary.
like 20 years of things that
Seriously,
happened
he's been on
before
the
that.
internet for 20 years
Yeah.
and was
He
famous for most of that.
arguably did the first Let's Play with Animal Crossing.
Sure did. Like he is a internet piece of history.
Dude, did you watch that documentary that
I watched like half of it, man. It is long.
Oh, I watched every episode.
Yeah, I watched. I
Did-
normally watch it whenever I'm cutting grass. Like I'll put it on my phone and set my phone up, and so I normally watch about like maybe an hour a week, and it just got it so long, man.
Did you get to the part where he legitimately thought Shigeru Miyamoto wanted to talk to him about making like a Sonic shooter
Yes,
game?
yes. Jesus, man. His early life is crazy though, because he had like every chance in the world to be a normal person. If he would have
Well,
never messed with the internet,
his parents kind of fucked him out of that, to be honest. His
I don't disagree with
parents,
you.
I said his parents were like old, like legitimate like boomers, and they didn't know anything about autism or how to deal
No.
with Chris at all, and they just kind of let him do whatever he wanted for the most part, and didn't really pay attention to him.
Yeah, because wasn't he already had brothers and sisters that were older than him,
Yeah,
right?
he has a
was
brother, I
like-
think that's a musician, but he
Yeah.
doesn't want anything to do with him because I think like
Yeah.
their mom, according to Chris's brother, I can't remember his name, his mom was like abusive, and he thinks that his mom is like a piece of shit, and he doesn't want anything to do with them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure after learning about the stuff that Chris did, I'm sure he's like, okay, I definitely don't want to be involved with this family.
Man, it's wild though. I can't believe
Yeah.
y'all have never heard of Chris
Nope.
Chan.
no, I've heard of Chris Chan.
Well, I mean, I know
I
you
didn't
have,
hear
but
about him until do you know like any the Let's Play channel Oni plays?
I've heard of him. Yeah.
They one of the things they talk about on their channel, like on their Let's Play stuff, is like sometimes they talk about Chris Chan and they make like jokes out of him or with
Yeah.
him. And that's how I heard about him. I'm like, who the hell is this Chris Chan guy they make fun of all the time?
Yeah, I just heard
And
of him
then-
through
Have you
Old
guys
school.
seen what Jake Paul looks like now?
that's
He's
a
like
fat
real
suit.
fat,
Yeah,
That's
what
a
the fuck?
fat
I mean,
suit.
he looks
has no
like
nipples.
fat bastard from Austin Powers.
yeah.
It,
Is this
it has no
real?
nipples. No, it has no nipples. Look at the suit. It's a suit.
It's a
It doesn't
fat
even look
suit?
like the same color. Yeah, it doesn't have nipples on it. So the guy had nipples, got fat, and lost his nipples. I just saw that
Who?
whenever I was waiting for you to send me the link.
Huh? What link?
When you got bullied into starting the stream.
Oh, I just put it in the chat, the one chat room for whoever wanted to come in. 'Cause I don't know.
But Chris Chan is an amazing story. It is.
So you think this is a fake
Wow.
video?
Yeah, I think the video's real, but I think he's got a fat suit on. I watched it a
Okay.
couple times.
I mean, that suit makes him look like he's 9 months pregnant.
It's not jiggling right either.
No, it's there. It looks like the only other way he could be that big is if he's bloated, because there's no jiggle to it. But he has no nipples, and if you look at it, it's a completely different color from like his shoulders and stuff. And that's not a redneck tan. You don't get that tan, then get a redneck tan. Believe me, I
I
should
don't know. The tattoo kind of moves. I don't know, man. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he was in pretty good shape, and I also think I mean, you can gain weight, but it's a lot harder to gain weight that fast than people think it is. I mean, like to get that fat from where he was, I mean, it would take an insane amount of inactivity and calorie intake to get that big, that fast.
Yeah.
And to get like a humongous gut like that, I mean, you would have to literally do absolutely nothing and probably eat 8,000 calories a day.
Especially that fast, because it was just a month ago. He was, jack dude. But I'm looking at the video right now. Dude has no nipples. Yeah, it's fake. Look how shiny it is compared to the rest of him.
Details of these freak-off sessions as laid out in the government's indictment and in their subsequent letters that they filed with the court when they argued against Combs' bail, which, by the way, was denied twice. Now, he's currently locked.
Let's see. Who's this in the picture here? You got
DJ Khaled. You got what's his name from the Neptunes? Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. Is that Beyonce?
No,
that's not Beyonce.
You got Nas in the middle. That dude on the far left is like a model or actor I've seen before.
Yeah, he's on Grey's Anatomy, like the older.
Yeah.
Grey's Anatomy.
Next to Nas is what's her name? God, that super famous singer. Can't think of her name though. She won some Grammys and stuff.
Yeah, there's Pharrell.
Yeah, that's Pharrell from the Neptunes and NERD. They had one good song. God, what's that woman's name?
That's not
Mary
is that
J.
Mary
Blige.
J. Blige?
That's it. Yep, that's her. That's her.
It?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only one I don't know is the top left standing by Diddy. But I feel like I've seen her before. I think she's an actress.
Up in the Brooklyn Detention Center, Combs is facing charges of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, transportation to engage in prostitution. We've mentioned it before, but he could be looking at 15 years to life in prison. That's how serious these charges are. But the main theme here, the main allegation, is that Combs led a criminal enterprise. And the goal of this criminal enterprise, other than to operate a global...
Oh, you got the Salt guy too?
Salt Bay.
Oh, Salt Poppy, man. Like, Jesus.
He's a Turkish national. Nothing's going to happen to him.
No, ain't shit gonna happen to him. Plus, he's cringe.
Yeah.
But no,
The
I don't
media
think
and
Puppy
entertainment
was
business
the
was
ringleader
doing-
of any of this stuff, as we've discussed. He's
No.
just a small guy.
Yeah.
Somebody
He's
in
a
the
much-
abuse of
much
women.
more powerful white guy who's running all this shit.
Banker. It's a banker. It's not a white dude. It's a banker.
Definitely a banker.
Exactly, Jim.
sex trafficking, forced labor, prostitution, the distribution of drugs, to use violence and threats, to commit crimes like kidnapping, arson, bribery, obstruction of justice, to carry out their goals, their missions, all the while making sure to satisfy the sexual desires of Sean Combs. And one of those desires, as alleged by the government, by prosecutors, and also alleged by several Combs accusers in separate civil lawsuits that they filed against him, were the commission of freak-offs. So with that in mind, now we're going to get into these shocking details surrounding these freak-offs.
Oh, who's that he's with there? This guy with the gray hair.
That's
there's lots of
Donald
rumors
Trump,
about
right?
that guy blowing dudes in the back of limos.
Also blowing up hospitals and weddings.
Well,
In
that
the
too,
Middle East.
killing 16-year-old American citizens.
without trial whatsoever. Piece of shit.
Yeah. Where's Big Mike at? I wonder if Diddy sucked Big Mike's cock.
Oh yeah, you know he did. Can't stop, won't stop.
And I guess we
He's
should
bad
start with
boy.
saying, what are freak-offs, right? Well, let's go to the indictment. It says, quote, Combs and other members and associates of the Combs enterprise wielded the power and prestige of Combs' role at the Combs business to intimidate, threaten, and lure female victims into Combs' orbit, often under the pretense of a romantic relationship. Combs then used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sex acts with male commercial sex workers that Combs referred to as, among other things, freak-offs. Freak-offs were elaborate and produced sex performances that Combs arranged, directed, pleasured himself during, and often electronically recorded. Now, while this
So it's
indictment
like
came down, I
Cirque
said
du
if
Soleil for freaks. There you go.
Wait, so it was a bunch of women that he kept there, but he hired male prostitutes?
Yep. Yep. You heard that.
What the,
He was doing Magic Mike stuff.
what the fuck, man? That's weird.
Maybe Channing Tatum was there.
Maybe.
Maybe he is. He is
That's probably why
pretty
Dave
ghetto.
didn't want to talk about this.
But I was cracking up when you guys were talking about that.
Yeah, buddy. Magic Mike, the first one's a pretty okay movie. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I watched it. Didn't watch it alone though. It was with some buddies.
He was stimulated. I agree with you about Channing Tatum as Gambit. It's not as good
Thank
as
you.
it could have been.
Thank you. The fucking head thing that covered his side of his
He was
head.
too he needed to be thinner to wear that, in my
Thank you.
opinion.
He looked like his face was squeezing out of it.
I don't really think Channing Tatum's face really suits like Gambit's outfit.
Nope. You're right. Channing Tatum, Gambit should have a thin, long face.
Yeah.
I just thought because they had all the people that played these characters in the past 20 years ago or whatever,
Except
they
for
should have
Channing
had
Tatum.
yeah, they should have had the guy that, played
Yeah.
This
Gambit.
movie was supposed to happen like 10 years ago.
Yeah, but it never
It's
did.
just been
That's
development.
the point. That was like all these member berries with, Wesley Snipes, Jennifer Garner. You had, Chris Evans as Johnny Storm.
Yeah,
It should have been Taylor Kish.
I agree.
Or Kirsch, whatever his name is. Kish.
You call him whatever you want, Jim. Guess what, buddy? This is your channel now.
Yeah.
We're not on Dave's. We're not in Dave's little fascist channel anymore. We can call him whatever we want to now.
Tyler, Taylor, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, whatever the fuck his name is.
Dude from Battleship. How's that?
That's it. Yeah.
Friday
that
Night
son of
Lights
a
guy.
bitch.
Yeah.
Friday Night Lights guy.
Yeah. Dude.
Do you get?
The fuck is the name
Like-
of that movie now?
I was like 11 or 12 when that movie came out.
How old are you, Gundam?
27.
Okay. I don't talk to anybody under 25, so you just made the cut, pal.
I thought you were like my age. Before
Everybody
you said you were
says that.
38.
Yeah, everybody says that. Even I still get ID'd when I go to the store. So I hear my voice and I'm like, "Who's that little kid?"
And I'm probably going to be ID'd until I'm at least 40.
That's a good thing, man. They stopped IDing Jim at 12. Where'd Jim go?
Yeah.
Did he die on us?
No, I'm right here. He was also an American Assassin. That's right. He played Mitch Rapp.
You had to go Google the other movies.
No, because I'm trying to think of the name of Savages. That was the name of the movie that he was great in.
Savages. Okay.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
I got to get out of here, Jim.
Oh, you fucking leaving?
I got to, man. I got some classes I got to go to in the morning.
Well, can you come back when you have no class?
Yeah. When I have no class, I'll be on your channel exclusively, Jim.
Oh, he was also in that fucking awesome movie that Chris Pratt was in. That's the series on fucking Amazon. What the fuck was it called?
Terminal List.
Terminal List. Yeah, is that
Terminal
coming
List,
back
yeah.
or no? That was just a one
Probably
shot. Huh?
not. Chris Pratt's too big now.
That was good, man.
Yeah, he's too big doing Amazon show. So, but yeah, no, I'll come back on, Jim. All you gotta do is send me the link, buddy.
All right, no problem.
Blue Gundam, I'll see you Wednesday, right? You're gonna be on the anime show.
Hopefully, as long as you guys are still on when I get home.
What time do you get off?
11:15.
He gets his
Okay.
freak off.
Yeah, then he gets his freak off. That's it.
Well,
But
you
yeah,
guys were on until like 12:30 last week, so I could at least probably hopefully be on for like the last hour of it, maybe.
yeah. Well, I hope to see you there, buddy. If not, follow me on Twitter at Ambient Aristotle, and I'll DM you
I
the link.
don't have Twitter.
Oh, what are you doing, man?
I have
What are you doing with your
Instagram.
life? I don't have a. How do I explain it? I don't have a alt Instagram. I just have a personal family Instagram, and I don't give that to
No.
nobody. So,
I wish I didn't have Twitter.
yeah, right.
Why?
Then what would you do when you're like bored?
Well, I'm old. I still have a Facebook account.
I still
I have
have one of
Facebook.
those, but that's so my aunt can like text message me pictures of funny videos of dogs.
Yeah, that's something like I only have people like I actually know in real life, have met in real life.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's how I keep my my Facebook and Instagram. So that's Twitter's for trolling people and doing stuff like this. So, but all right, Jim, thank you so much for having me on, brother. Chris, a pleasure as always. Blue Gundam,
Take it easy,
it
man.
was great to meet you. Chat. I'll
Yeah,
see you
great
on
meeting you.
Wednesday, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central on Katie Ditch channel. Talk to you later.
Oh man. Well, all right. Let's get back into this stuff.
The time. This may be a term that is foreign to any person that was not familiar with Sean Combs, but for me, who's been following this whole saga for what a
Hey,
year.
look, LeBron. Huh,
Isn't that his agent who just got married to that Adele lady?
maybe. Huh.
Here now, I have heard this term multiple times because in the Cassandra Ventura lawsuit, Combs' ex-girlfriend, and Rodney Little Rod Jones lawsuit, this is Combs' former producer, they discussed the freak-offs in their sexual assault lawsuits. Now, Ventura alleged, among other things, that Combs would demand her participation in freak-offs and that she would have to be forced to hire the male sex workers and that this could happen at any random moment. Jones alleged, among other things, that Combs' son Justin Combs and DJ and record producer Stevie J would engage in freak-offs. Now, to be clear, those specific allegations, those names, those details were not mentioned as part of the criminal case. I will tell you, though, that the idea of this freak-off, now that it is officially part of the criminal case, now that it's mentioned multiple times, this makes me wonder two things from a legal point of view. Number one, it is such a wild concept and a phraseology that it's hard to believe that this is something that was just made up by Combs' accusers. And when I say Combs' accusers, could that be Ventura? Yes. Could that be Jones? Yes. Perhaps the government got this information, this idea of the freak-offs originally from them. And by the way, when I say Combs' accusers, could be Ventura, could be Jones. Perhaps the government got this idea of the freak-offs from them originally, but we don't know. To be clear,
Isn't there something in the indictment too about Biggie?
Oh, I don't know. Biggie
we do not know for sure. We do not.
Biggie
No, I
probably
mean
didn't want to.
that they're saying somehow that I thought there was something in there about him being responsible for Biggie getting killed.
It might be like maybe that's why him and Tupac were going at it because they didn't want to participate in the freak-offs or something. Who the hell knows?
Maybe.
Or Biggie didn't want to get pumped in the ass at the freak-off, and Diddy had him killed, and Tupac didn't want to get pumped in the ass at the freak-off or he didn't want to have a freak-off on the West Coast, and who the fuck knows? There's no telling what the hell happened.
Not know who the accusers are, the victims are in this criminal case, who the government's witnesses are, whoever those people may be, because we don't know for sure who is cooperating with the government right now. But the bottom line is the idea of the freak-off, there's enough there to substantiate it that the government is moving forward with this. And
Well,
again, it is so wild. It's
the
such
conspiracies like that. Diddy was like an FBI informant or like some sort of confidential informant. So who the hell knows? But this is all very strange.
It is.
such a wild concept to come up with that I wonder if an argument will be made that, look, jury, this has to be true. No one can honestly make something like this up. And as you'll see, it doesn't appear it was just witness testimony that corroborates the idea of the freak-offs happening, the existence of these freak-offs, but there's more, and I'll get to that. But this also leads me to a secondary point, that based upon what we are already seeing from Combs' defense counsel during bail arguments, they may not deny that these freak-offs happened, or even that Combs called them freak-offs. They may say, yeah, you know what, he engaged in freak-offs, that's what he called them, but they were consensual. That's the idea, they were consensual, this is not a crime. Talking about Sean Combs and these allegations, does it not show you just how scary the world can be, how unpredictable the world can be? And you know what? You know what one of the most unpredictable things can be in life? Something that is truly terrifying, that comes out of nowhere? If you get injured, right? That comes out of nowhere. But it's important to realize that at those moments, what your rights are. And whether...
Oh, so this is an ad right here real quick.
A little bit more. Let's explore a little bit more details of these freak-offs. So the indictment continues, quote, freak-offs occurred regularly, sometimes lasted multiple days, and often involved multiple commercial sex workers. During freak-offs, Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant. Sometimes, unbeknownst to the victims, Combs kept videos he filmed of victims engaging in sex acts with commercial sex workers. After freak-offs, Combs and the victims typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. That is something, and the government would...
Okay, so first of all, that's not that big of a deal. A lot of wealthy people will get IV vitamins and stuff like that after, their fluids replenished after a night of heavy party, and it kind of like brings them back, get some oxygen and stuff. You could really bounce back. It's very, very popular with like stockbrokers and people like that. They'll have
Going on benders and
they go on benders. They would have people come in the next day, like nurses and stuff come in.
concierge doctors. Come
Yeah,
and, like, take
so I
care
mean,
of
that's
them.
not that crazy.
allege that these freak-offs, they have been happening since 2009, that those drugs consisted of ketamine, GHB, ecstasy. Now, in terms of the defense of consent, the defense could say, well, these people knowingly and voluntarily took drugs, but if it's true that Combs kept videos that these participants didn't know about, that could be problematic for him, especially since we
Could
learned
be.
the government may have the goods to back all of this up. In their bail letter to the judge, they write, quote, the evidence against the defendant, which would be made public at trial, includes substantial evidence that is highly sensitive and has the potential to significantly and negatively impact the defendant's reputation. For example, dozens of video recordings created by the defendant of freak-offs with victims.
So it has the potential to significantly and negatively impact the defendant's reputation. So that's what they want to do. They just want to destroy his reputation.
Well, that's the thing I'm wondering too. You haven't, since this has all come out, it's not like people are lining up to tell their story. Because if this guy is being subjected to criminal prosecution, any type of NDA would be completely null and void. So, what are they going to do? I mean, like, are they actually going to get any witness testimony? Are they anybody who's been quote unquote victimized? Are any of them actually going to come forward in a public trial setting that everybody's going to be watching and be like, yeah, I went to this party, I got drugged, and Diddy pulled me to the side after the fact and said, hey, I've got video of you getting pumped in the ass by Tyrone, and if you say anything that I don't like or don't do what I tell you to do or what my handlers tell you to do, I'm going to leak this shit to Pornhub and completely ruin you. I don't know. I'm like, how would a trial like this even go? How do you present that evidence?
They're not, I don't think they plan on presenting evidence. They're going to try to get him to plea out, or they're going to do something, or they're going to Epstein him so that this just goes away.
Get Nick Rekieta to cover it.
Rekieta to cover it. It's going to how he's going to make his comeback. But yeah, I don't know. But I just can't see anybody who is in the public eye ever coming forward, especially with the negativity that's attached to this, saying, yes, I participated in these freak offs, and yes, I was on video, and unbeknownst to me or what. I mean, that's not going to help them at all. They're not going to be looked at as a victim unless it's like a young person, like a Bieber or something like that. But if it's an adult of age, no one's going to look at, say, like if LeBron James was at one of these things and was on video, no one's going to look at LeBron James as a victim. They're just going to look at him as a freak, or Kevin Hart, or anybody of that stature. They're just going to look at them as a pervert, and they're going to be completely ruined. So, I mean, I have to imagine the authorities have to go to these people and say, hey, look, we have you on video in this man's house being recorded illegally. What do you want to do? And I can't imagine any of those people would be like, yeah, I'll come forward and testify and say, yeah, this was me on video.
They'll do like they did with the Epstein witnesses, where they hid their identity.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
Which they're not really supposed to do in a trial, but they did it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, several. I think several of the Epstein, or not Epstein, but the what was her name? The Ghislaine Maxwell. The witnesses against her testified under pseudonyms,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't. You know what I mean? There are no cameras or anything allowed. So
Yeah, I don't know how
sure,
they have to do that.
they'll do something like that again.
I mean, we wondered what was collected by federal authorities after they raided Combs' homes in LA and Miami back in March. There were reports that they collected digital evidence. In fact, further on in the government's letter, prosecutors write, quote, setting aside devices seized in connection with the defendant's arrest, the government has obtained over 90 cell phones, laptops, cloud storage accounts, as well as over 30 other electronic and storage devices such as hard drives, thumb drives, cameras, and a surveillance system. The government also wrote, victim testimony regarding freak-offs is at times corroborated by other witness testimony, communications with the defendant and commercial sex workers, travel records, hotel records, videos of the freak-offs, and records reflecting or indicating payment. By the way, you're talking about evidence of freak-offs. Prosecutors revealed one other way that they can prove that these freak-off events happened, because in the government's bail letter, it states, the defendant arranged freak-offs with the assistance of members and associates of the enterprise, including employees of his business, and the hotel rooms where they were staged often sustained significant damages. So the prosecution's letter goes on to state that, for example,
Dave, is they were just saying in the previous slide there that, victims have already come forward. Well, the Sixth Amendment is still a thing. And if you're being put on trial, you have the right to face your accusers. And in a trial setting, could he not exercise his Sixth Amendment rights and say, like, okay, you're going to show up in this courtroom and I have a chance to have you cross-examined as a way
No,
to.
they'll be cross-examined, but their name, you know what I mean? The names will be sealed and everything. And
Yeah, I just
the
don't know
person
how
will
they.
be there and stuff. It'll just be no one else. It'll be like a seal, closed courtroom, so it'll only be the people participating. And
Yeah, I don't know how they keep all this stuff silent, though. I have no idea.
I'm
I mean,
ready.
obviously, like if they're
I'm
giving testimony to cops, so again, they could write the letter to the court so he wasn't able to get bail.
See, now this is
But
what here says. Defendant ensured the victims would participate in the freak-offs through coercion and violence. For instance, defendant provided controlled substances, including ketamine, ecstasy, and gamma hydrogroup GHB, which is kind of like they call it kind of like a date rape drug, but it's actually bodybuilders use it to for muscle pain and stuff like that in small amounts. It's anyway, whatever. To female victims so that they could and would continue to engage in the freaks off despite fatigue, physical and emotional exhaustion, and pain. Doesn't say he forced them. Provided means, here, you want this?
yeah, but the thing is too, when they're giving testimony, are they under duress or they're doing this because of the fact that they've been told at some other point in time, yeah, hey, we've got you on camera. We're going to ruin your life if you don't continually participate in these things. So obviously, there's a lot of stuff that we don't know. But I think just because you're offered something doesn't necessarily, and you do something, doesn't mean you're not under duress or you're not being blackmailed or you're not being set up. There's all kinds of probably fucked up shit that's going on behind closed doors that would make you sick to your stomach if you heard it.
A crime, right? You might be wild sexual encounters, but why is this sex trafficking? Why is this racketeering? Well, as laid out in the indictment, but also this was articulated by Damian Williams, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Here's what he had to say in a press conference after the unsealing of this indictment.
As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. When Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair. On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later...
So this is that video that's been out there where the girls leave it and he comes running out with the towel wrapped around him, right?
Yeah.
They're talking about, so that's...
reported in the media. Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee. As alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the...
But why is this case in the Southern District of New York, the one place that's completely politicized and controlled by the Democrat Party? That's weird, right?
Well, I think
If
anywhere
this-
that guy's, whether it's L.A. or New York, it's completely controlled by the
But I'm just saying,
Democratic
it's
Party.
not in L.A. He lived in L.A. and Miami. Most of these things happen in L.A. and Miami.
Well, he got arrested in New York, from what I understand. Like they showed like a picture of him in Central Park earlier that day. So I don't know what the hell.
So
he
he
was
went to
doing
New
there.
York. What was wrong? What is he, stupid?
Who the hell knows?
The victims, which took days or weeks to heal. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims.
And that's the key. It's using power, violence, threats, coercion, force to get people to participate in sexual activity. That is illegal. Sex trafficking is when you use such methods for the purposes of commercial sex, usually over state lines. Commercial sex is when money is offered for sexual services or something else of value. And one of the things that the indictment mentions is how Combs would allegedly dangle promises of career opportunities.
So he transported people across state lines for sex. Is that a violation of the Mann Act? Sheriff Buford T. Justice is going to come down on him.
Or threatening to withhold financial support to get people to do what he wanted. Now, you heard Damian Williams mention that 2016 incident. So even if you hadn't been following the Combs legal saga for the past year, everyone saw that video that was published by CNN of Combs allegedly beating Cassandra Ventura back in 2016 at the Intercontinental Hotel in LA, all while wearing a robe. This is something that Ventura alleged had happened when she filed her lawsuit back in November of 2023. But when that video was released, we all saw with our own eyes what apparently transpired. And we know Sean Combs issued an apology on Instagram 2 days after the release of that tape. But how this ties to the freak-off? Well, the allegation was the reason he was in a towel, the reason she was allegedly running away, the reason he allegedly beat her was because she was trying to escape a freak-off. And as Ventura alleged, prosecutors say Combs tried to cover up this event. In the bail letter, prosecutors write, quote, when a member of hotel security staff intervened, the defendant attempted to offer the hotel security officer a stack of cash to ensure his silence. After the security guard refused the defendant's bribe and after coordination between the defendant and his employees, the defendant's staff contacted other members of hotel security. At the same time, staff members were in close communication with the victim of the assault as well, all in an effort to cover up the defendant's assault and to prevent the incident from being publicly disclosed. Within days of the incident, the surveillance video disappeared from the hotel's server. By the way, that brings me to another point about the freak-offs. How many people allegedly helped Combs do this? As the indictment reads, quote, members and associates of the Combs enterprise, including high-ranking supervisors, security staff, household staff, personal...
So if the video disappeared from the hotel's server, where did it come from?
What do you mean, like the initial one that was on CNN?
But, yeah, like they said, the video, like the hotel just disappeared. The hotel didn't have it anymore. The security footage was gone. So he paid somebody to get rid of the video, like a fixer.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow that fixer either didn't turn on him or what? You know what I mean? So something happened. That video from 2016 turned up in 2024. So it was gone for 8 years. So somebody tried shaking him down and he said no? It's weird, right?
I don't know. I hadn't really followed any of this stuff until
me neither, but that's what I'm saying. Like they're saying that he paid off the hotel and everybody, and they got rid of the video. They took the surveillance camera. So, but somehow somebody got a hold of that video to leak it to the press.
Mm-hmm.
Personal assistants and other Combs business employees facilitated the freak-offs by, among other things, booking hotel rooms for the freak-offs, stocking the hotel rooms in advance with the required freak-off supplies, including controlled substances, baby oil, lubricant, extra linens, and lighting, cleaning the hotel rooms after the freak-offs to try to mitigate room damage, arranging for travel for victims, commercial sex workers, and Combs to and from freak-offs, resupplying Combs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at my YouTube for a second and I saw he uploaded a new video.
About what? Any ideas?
It's a new it has to do with Alex Stein. I think he's finally talking about what happened between Ethan, Eric, and Alex Stein.
Oh, okay. Well,
so maybe you and Dave could watch that tomorrow or something.
Oh, I was gonna say we could watch it right now.
Hey Jim,
I mean, you guys can keep watching this.
What's up?
I have to take off, man.
Oh man.
Getting late.
All right, yeah, Chris.
I got no stamina.
We were just gonna start detracting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I just noticed that. I didn't mean to distract from what you guys were doing.
No, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
All right, guys, take it easy.
All right, take care, Chris.
Yeah, have a good night, Chris.
And then there was 2. All right.
Now you're stuck with
with requested
me.
supplies,
No,
delivering large sums of cash to Combs to pay the commercial
just
sex
kidding.
workers, and scheduling the delivery of IV fluids. In or about March 2024, during searches of Combs' residences in Miami, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, law enforcement seized various freak-off supplies, including narcotics, and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant.
That's a lot of shit.
So assuming the government did in fact
Baby
collect all of
oil.
this evidence, again, I don't think there's a great defense for why someone would have that much baby oil and lubricant. So the defense will probably be like, yeah, my client engaged in these sexual sessions, but hey, that's not illegal on its face. Everyone agreed to it. It's all consensual. But here's the larger point. First, you can see how this supports the racketeering conspiracy charge that Combs faces, right? The idea that there was an agreement to create and further a criminal enterprise. Combs can't do this alone. Prosecutors need to prove he conspired with others in this criminal enterprise to break the law. So you see this alleged coordination between multiple people at his behest. But this also helps explain potential witnesses that may be working with the government. Those people that used to work for Combs, associated with Combs, help facilitate these alleged freak-offs that may now be key witnesses at a future trial. After all, what did the prosecution write in their letter to the judge? The government has conducted interviews with over 50 victims and witnesses, many of whom saw or experienced the defendant's abuse. Many of these witnesses corroborate one another, and their accounts are similarly consistent with the other types of evidence discussed below. The government only expects that number to continue to grow, given that the investigation, which is now public, is ongoing. And we did another sidebar on the potential that people will come forward or take deals to cooperate with the government. You can check it out on our Long Con YouTube page. But if you thought that all of that wasn't shocking enough when it comes to the freak-offs, I want to leave you with one final allegation regarding these freak-offs. And this is something that prosecutors mentioned in their second letter regarding bail. So let's not forget, Combs was first denied bail by a magistrate judge. He appealed that decision to a district court judge, and that judge is supposed to review this with fresh eyes, doesn't have to provide necessarily deference to what this other judge did. So the government doubled down to show how much of a danger Sean Combs is, how he can't be trusted on the outside, how he needs to be detained pending trial. And in their second letter, they write, quote, "Indeed, since at least in or about January 2024, when the defendant was unquestionably aware of the criminal investigation, the evidence shows that he is engaged in multiple freak-offs, some involving the interstate transportation of individuals to participate, has continued to use narcotics, and has contacted multiple witnesses." So if true, the government is saying these freak-offs are not years old. They are essentially still happening. This was after he had already been sued.
Yeah.
And after the idea of the freak-off had become publicized through those lawsuits, people were talking about it in the media. And he's still allegedly engaged in this behavior? That's huge for prosecutors. And of course here, we know that Combs was denied bail again by that secondary judge. So there you have it. A full breakdown of the freak-off allegations, how they tie into...
I doubt this dude is shocked by the fact that stuff's still gonna go on. There's a lot of weird shit that all the celebrities do that people don't really know about.
Yeah, they're weird. Eyes wide shut and shit.
Okay, take us back to Anunnaki.
Mm-hmm.
What are they?
Well,
Are these giants?
Yeah. Okay, the Anunnaki, they are these beings that came from off-world.
So these are aliens.
These are aliens. Now, what's interesting about these aliens is that they're not little green men with antenna.
Yeah.
They're actually hominids, bilateral bipedal
I was
hominids. They
laughing when
look
you were
just
trying
like
to show
a...
this to Tony the other night
Yeah. Yeah, well,
after you guys were all fighting.
let's trying to cheer him up, you know.
Okay.
You slice them in half. They have two forward-faced looking eyes, two hands, legs. They put their pants on one leg at a time, like us.
But do they look more like us or more like us?
They look like we look like them.
Okay.
We actually look like them.
Okay.
And the reason why is because we have their genetics and their DNA inside of our bodies. Now, what's interesting is these beings were a spacefaring race that broke away from the Pleiadian star system. The Pleiadian star system is a group of stars called the Seven Sisters in the night sky. You can see 6 stars with the naked eye. Now, these stars in ancient times, according to ancient texts and tablets, there was an ancient galactic war there.
Okay.
Most of the information from Star Wars comes from this text. And this war, they had these destroyers like Death Stars. They don't call them that, but they call them the Brahma Astra and Brahma Astra Honda weapons that actually...
So wait, he's saying Star Wars was created using what? What?
What?
So Star Wars was based on the War of the Anunnaki? Is that what he's saying?
Star Wars was made because George Lucas liked old samurai films, like Kurosawa stuff.
That's weird.
can release a weapon that can destroy planets.
Okay.
Imagine if you were in a star system and a planet is being blown up and you're in a nearby planet.
You
gotta
getting the fuck
get
out of there.
off of your planet.
Yeah.
This created something called space refugees. Nobody's talking about this.
Where are you getting this information again? Where is
The
this?
Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, the Indian Vedas.
So these are ancient Indian texts.
That's right.
5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Enuma Elish,
I just
which
want to
is
let you know.
Sumerian.
And I want to get to this, but
Yeah.
for this entire episode,
Yeah.
we're not fact checking.
Okay.
Okay, we're not debating. We're not pushing it. Take us down the rabbit hole. We want to see
taking you
how
down.
deep it goes.
The people can listen to what I'm saying and they can go look all of it up.
Fuck them. Take us down the rabbit hole.
I'm taking
Billy.
you, man.
Okay, let's go.
So we're talking about
Yes, and
we're talking about the evidence, the very first evidence of space refugees.
so you're seeing this in these ancient Indian texts.
Yeah.
Okay. You come across this and you're like, okay, let me see if there's some truth to this because
Yeah.
I'm seeing this across multiple ancient Indian texts.
Right.
Any other text referencing this?
The Terra Papers, an ancient indigenous American text as well.
Okay.
Very little known text that hardly anyone talks about. The Hopi tribe elders have written this book based on that text and published it, actually. It's called the Terra Paper, so that it wasn't just in indigenous lore, but it made it finally to publishing. So it's actual text that we can all read and get access to. It reads like the Star Wars movie. Just take out the love stories and all that. And what's interesting is it talks about, again, these same galactic wars going on. People fleeing from that region of space, looking for other planets, Orion, Aldebaran, Sirius A, B, and C, which we know the Dogon talk about people coming from Sirius B, which is a star that ran out of fuel, and of course Earth. And they came here to create a breakaway civilization. Just like if there was a war, and there was in our solar system, that's what we call Mars, the god of war, we're going to be like, we got to get off this planet because the debris is going to destroy us.
So we're the
I don't know if that's
product
true.
of pussy aliens, basically. Like
What's that?
So I don't know if Ares being the god of war. Or did they say Ares or Mars?
One was a Greek god and the other one was a Roman god, but they were the same god, it's just different names, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
aliens who weren't ready to bang and fight for their future and their freedom, they just ran. We're defectors.
They were
Is
the
that-
they were the elites that had the access to the ships that can take them from one star to another.
So are they like the politicians that like didn't go to Vietnam?
Right.
God, it's so
Yeah.
we're the product of like rich, privileged kids.
They're
Yeah.
the guys with the $10,000 suits that just sent everyone out
Yes.
to die.
They would be protesting at Columbia, right?
Correct.
Got it. Okay, good. Got it. Okay,
Yeah,
good,
that's who these people are. And so some of them came to Earth. And so Anunnaki is a general term. It doesn't mean one race. It's just like if all of us here got in a spaceship and flew to Mars and we met a Martian and he said, "Who are you guys?" We'd say Earthlings.
Got it. But they maybe would call us Anunnaki.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm Billy Carson from Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Right. So they would get, they're Earthlings. That's one term, but we're all different races here.
Right.
Right. So, but that's so Anunnaki is a term to say those who came from heaven to earth. That's it. In Africa, they call it the Nituru, which means the same exact thing. The gods that came from heaven to earth and turned mud into a kingdom. Now, the civilization they built is the Atlantean civilization.
So this is where we hear about Atlantis, the
Yes.
mythology of Atlantis.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
They built the Atlantean civilization.
And where's the evidence for this? Where do you read about that?
Well, if you look in the text, a lot of the Indian texts, the
Got it.
Vedas, the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, the ancient lore of the indigenous aboriginals, the Terra Papers, the Enuma Elish, the Epic of Atrahasis, the Code of Hammurabi, the Myth of Etana. There's so many tablets. I can just keep going down.
Everybody's referencing
Yeah.
the Atlantean civilization.
Yeah.
Obviously, the most popular one was it Plato's uncle or something like that?
Plato. Plato wrote about this.
Oh, he did?
Yes, he did. Yes,
Okay. Got it.
Right. And so, you start looking at this information. That was more recent. I mean, when I say recent, it's not as ancient. But the account of Plato's account of Atlantis is not that ancient. But we're talking about the ring city, but that was just one capital. So that ring city that was being described is one capital of dozens that existed on Earth at the same time.
Do we know where these other ones might be? Is there any remnants?
They were
of
on
them?
every continent, every single continent. We're standing on Atlantis right now. were sitting right on top of
It
Atlantis.
was New York.
Yes, everyone on this planet is on top of Atlantis. So
Remember
when you
that.
start to look at the
I want to go to
Americas,
Atlantis.
you discover that there were so many pyramids.
Oh, you've never been to Atlantis?
No, I want to go.
Oh, it's in the Bahamas. It's cool. They got this water slide that you go through a fucking a big aquarium with sharks and shit in it, like a water slide tube. Well, Dan Blackroyd, you should come on and we could discuss it. He's got all his information from reading ancient Sumerian texts.
Pyramids in the Americas. There were literally thousands of them. What happened to them? The Catholic Church blew up the tops of these pyramids and built churches on top of them.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Mark, bro.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I was raised Catholic. They never told us that.
No, they won't tell you that.
Give me a zip.
They
This is
didn't-
great. It's time to get going.
They didn't tell you guys a lot of stuff.
Hold on. So break this down.
Right.
There were pyramids everywhere.
Yeah.
How do the Catholics find out about it? Are they reading the ancient texts?
Oh no, they just know we gotta eradicate this civilization science because we want to impose our will on the people. See, the Catholic Church went through something called the Inquisitions.
Yes.
It was the papal Inquisitions where they went around the planet and they killed and tortured and murdered 80 million people to convert them into Christianity. And
Got it.
So it wasn't spread like they tell you in church. The gospel means the good news. It was really bad news when these people showed up. It would
was
be
by
like
force.
America showing up to your country and you have oil buried in the ground.
Really?
Bad.
Wow. So they were like giving women fucking rights and shit. Let them read.
They,
Ridiculous. Absurd.
they have.
What the fuck is wrong with these people, man?
If you go to the museum in Rome,
Yeah.
you'll find they still have the torture tools there in the museum. They're proud of them. They have the Pope's spear. The Pope's, spear, which went up in a woman's vagina.
I saw that one.
Pop them open from the inside.
Good.
They had a spire
Gracious.
that they would lower a man down onto the spire through his butthole over and over again, up and down until he died.
Damn, no Diddy, bro.
For real.
Oh wow, no Diddy. Wow, Diddy. It's weird that they brought up Diddy. Okay.
They just had all these torture mechanisms.
Yeah.
What they would do is get the leader, the king, the chief, the guy who does all the sage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The medicine man.
Yeah.
And then they would say, look, we need to convert everyone to this. And if you don't, then we're going to kill you.
You're gonna fuck you from the inside out.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn.
So they would make everyone.
Who would do the fucking? Because I feel like that would be against Catholicism.
It would be one of these people from their church system and say, hey,
So there was
my
a
job.
fucker. There was a guy who would.
There
have
was a
to-
guy, he'd connect you and get you lined up perfectly.
Yeah.
And and do that. Sick people, but they when you,
Do what you gotta do, all right?
it's wild.
You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta spread the gospel.
You gotta spread the gospel.
Yeah, spread the gospel.
It is a good word.
under the order of Rome.
Yeah.
And but the big thing Rome said was, look, we got to get this money.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to convert our pagan system into a Christian system. We're going to combine the two together. That's why we have all these fake holidays that are all pagan holidays in Christianity.
That's my man Constantine, right?
Yeah, Constantine. They just combined it all together. Now we got the taxes and we got the offerings.
Yeah.
We got both. And now we got the people unified. And now we can put our boot on everybody's neck. And so once they reeled up the leader of that village or that town and killed him like that, and everyone saw it, it was like, okay, I'm ready to learn now. Teach me your language. Talk to me about your God. By the second, third generation, you're born, you're given a name, a race, and a religion, and you don't even know who you are.
Wow. So do you know which church in America or which churches are on old pyramids?
Oh, no, you just have to go out there. See, anything on, most of the older ones that are on hills with the triptych windows. The triptych windows are the same windows that mimic the three windows that you see in a lot of the pyramids, like in Chichen Itza, Yucatan Peninsula, and all of that. Those older ones, if you go to Mexico City, how I learned this, I went to Mexico City. I got a homegrown archaeologist. He started showing me all the hills and all the old churches. He said those were all pyramids.
So it's wild. Like when you go to the Mexico City pyramid specifically,
Yeah.
they show you what it looked like before and what it looked like after. you can never look at a hill again
Right.
and not think it's a pyramid
Right.
after you go see it.
Facts.
It's so if go look at it,
Are you
you
talking
can
about
see
these?
not Chichen Itza.
Yeah, that's the triptych. Yes.
Ah, wow.
At the
wow.
top of all Catholic churches, the older ones, they all have that triptych design. And most of the ones that are old in the 1800s built on those hills were
Go to the
pyramids.
Mexico City pyramids and do it before excavation. Because what happens is grass just starts to grow on them.
Yes.
So they just start to look like terrain.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
And,
hills.
Yeah, they just
big
look like
ass
hills. And people have all these like explanations for it. Like my tour guide, yeah, look at that. So like
Wow.
if you just saw that, like that black
Yeah.
and white picture to the right there, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me that you would never look at that and assume pyramid.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So now I have to look at every fucking hill and go,
Yeah.
should we dig this thing up and see? And
right.
some of them are just hills,
Yeah. Some are just hills, but some are these.
right?
Got it.
So when the Anunnaki came to Earth, were there already Homo sapiens here?
Yes. Good question. There were already not Homo
question.
sapiens, but hominids.
No, there weren't.
Our cousins.
Bad question.
Come on, bro.
They were Homo erectus. They were our cousins.
Yeah, they were.
But I believe that they were more intelligent than us spiritually.
So
Not
is it
technologically.
fair to say that the aliens were the first ones to smash monkeys?
No, they didn't do the monkeys. We were
They had to, right?
because when we were here, they didn't call us apes. They called us beings.
Yeah.
And in the Epic of Atrahasis, there was this big war getting ready to happen. And Enki and Lil and Anu were in this place in South Africa called Adam's Calendar, where they found the very first gold mines that human beings were working underneath their boot. Anyway, so the Ijiji, who were the working class Anunnaki, came from Mars to Earth to go to war against them because they felt like they were being enslaved, even though they weren't supposed to be enslaved. They were just working class people. They felt like they were doing too much labor. For 250,000 years, they were working.
Whoa.
And they came to Earth and they encircled the campus and they said, we're going to go to war. And it was like, well, why? And they were like, well, we've been asking you for relief. The workload is too heavy and we don't have any women. So
That's a big issue.
they were complaining about no women, literally in the ancient tablets. And so Enki says,
They need a king of diamonds, bro.
What were they saying? What were they saying? in the
Enki
ancient
says,
tablets?
I have an idea. Because they had kind of discussed in a weird way fashioning people. That means like robotics.
Okay.
But they had talked about their home planet. When they tried that, it failed. So that's a clue as to what AI and robotics can do to a planet. They were like, there's an existing being here, though, that we can add our essence to, talking about genetic modification, and get them to bear your load.
So don't make robots, make people that can
Right.
do your work for you.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Yes.
Wow.
So they started with that method first.
So they're just forcing human beings to do their work for them.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And that's how
Who
they
would do
bring them the offerings.
Yeah.
When you bring the offerings,
Yeah.
your best harvest and your fresh calves, that's their meat. That's their food.
This is what you see in the biblical text.
They're eating. That's their meals. They're not going to go out and hunt. I mean, this archaeologist was talking to me in Egypt in 2014 and was just laughing. He was showing me one of the altars. He said these people were so dumb. He just said his own people. He says they would line up in ancient times for miles to bring their best offerings to the head god. Wow. And the god was just putting them all this food in the storehouses. And he showed me where the storehouses were inside these temples. They would put these things in there. Then they had these other areas underneath the temple where other priests would go underneath and speak, and it would resonate their voice. And it would be the voice of God talking. And it was all this, nothing but a sham, to get them to bring all this food and gold and offerings and everything else.
I mean, I do believe that because if you go to Chichen Itza, you can have the limestone creates this like a vibration effect.
Yeah.
And you can have like a conversation, like
Trying to learn, oh snakes. This seems very educational.
I don't really have anything to add to it.
Yeah,
I don't really know
Pushing
anything.
back on it. I mean, why would you push back on a scholar like Billy Carson? I mean, he got all the facts. He's schooling us right now. I don't
I don't know about that.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, stealing. This is a clip from a clip channel. It's not I'm not playing this whole thing. This is a clip from a clip channel. I mean, I don't know. I thought that's what clip channels were for people to play.
I mean, we could watch that JJ video if you want.
I guess since
I would be able to add more to that.
Snakes is basically, saying I'm stealing. He's accusing me of being a stealer reaver.
Rape accusations, death threats,
Use deadly force.
sexual misdeeds.
Oh God.
Mum on a regular basis.
This is the story of Isom. No, not the International School of Ministry, but the comic by Eric July. Tonight, on Sifting Through the Trash, with your host, JJ Trujillo. Eric's essay of a community post implies.
Okay, so Eric has an essay of a community post. It's clearly shown here, and it says, sad, I have to even post this, but for context, apparently, I'm going to read it like Eric would speak. Apparently, there was a debate that people thought I was going to participate in an Alex Stein show. Here's the timeline. The other guest was talking about the drama and then asked to appear on Alex's show. At some point, this was confirmed, Ed, and the appearance was via Skype. The other guest spoke with the producers, Alex. The entire list of topics they were to discuss was about me and gossiping as such. The producer contacted me just hours before the show was about to start. I was unaware of number 1 and #2 before this. He asked me if I wanted to set the record straight. I said, nah, and I'm not beefing with anybody. He then gave me
Chicken attack.
He then gave me the rundown of what happened and said the other guest reached out to them, asking them to come on. He showed me the list of planned topics. I told the producer this whole ordeal is odd, and it almost put me in a position where I have to go combat someone trying to gossip and drama farm. As y'all know, I'm not a video contributor with the Blaze, and that comes with obligation and appearances. Management, not me.
It's just funny because he used to do all those monetize my hater streams. This would have been like the ultimate monetize your hater stream.
No, TH is duh. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to start over. Management, not me, opted to cancel the appearances altogether. At no point did I ever agree to battle or debate. I found out about that being the set up the same way y'all did via tweet. Titles. Oh, sure. Old Snakes is leaving now after he forced us to change.
Ethan wanted to debate Eric, him saying that Ethan was talking drama and sought to go on Alex's show. In reality, Ethan was also sandbagged. His producer contacted me and just said, we're excited about having you on 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 7:10, I think he said. So I went and I took a nice
I remember
nap,
watching this when it was happening.
like 4 o'clock. I was like, I'm going to get a little...
That would have been a great stream.
Yeah, I know. I was really hoping that would have happened, but I think Eric was like scared. He didn't want to end up in Rekieta stream situation again.
Yeah,
Because
well,
that was like one of the few times he was made to like look stupid on a stream.
well, one time. I mean, he's been made look stupid a bunch of times.
Little nap,
Well,
so
I
I'm
mean,
bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready for the Alex
I was
Stein
gonna
show.
say
And I
that,
wake up.
like,
Oh.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, I mean, he probably has before, but that was like that was probably like the first like major time he's been made to look dumb, just because he couldn't run circles around Rekieta, and Rekieta kind of caught him and the stuff he likes to do when he debates people,
Well, too,
and he made him look silly.
Yeah, but he did that shit on Rekieta, and then what made it worse, and I think what caused a lot of people to turn on him, was then the next day he put out that video basically trying to walk back what he said on Rekieta's show and make it seem like somehow Rekieta was gay hopping him.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, dude.
I mean, that was the stream that kind of brought me to like Frog Tony, and when Katie started making stuff, and then you guys.
That
was like the catalyst.
The catalyst?
Yeah, the catalyst.
Up around 6, and I'm looking at Twitter, and I see the craziest shit. Alex Stein, and I guess his producer, sandbagged me, from my perspective, sandbagged me with this. Look at this. Tonight's going to be absolutely wild when the bad boys of Comicsgate finally clash on the blimp. Eric D. July versus Ethan Van Sciver, 7 p.m. Eastern. Watch the battle right here. What I had no idea. I had no idea what was going on here.
You notice he untagged himself from that?
Yeah, he does that a lot.
But it was incredibly exciting. So I went up and I told my wife, I said, for some reason, I think Alex Stein, I took it a little personally. I was a little bit I didn't take it personally, but I was a little bit like, I feel like, technically speaking, I'm being sandbagged here because I didn't agree to this.
Eric also stated that the Blaze managers canceled the show and not him, perhaps trying to counter his critics who would soon say Eric chickened out of the debate. But later he made this second community post, making it clear he was the one who backed away, meaning he likely asked management to call the debate off. Alex previously had...
There's only one person on earth that gets to sum me. Y'all be great.
I hate the be great thing. It's like you can't just be great. Being great is something you have to work towards. It's like being great is not something you just do. Being great is something that happens after you work to get to that point,
That can't be true.
Yeah, you just have to be great no matter what.
Yeah, you just make ISOM and say it's great, and it'd be great. Right? No? Oh, okay.
I mean, I guess.
Critics of Eric.
Everyone around him tells him that.
Sure.
Alex later explained Dick couldn't come on because he was fighting with Eric.
Will you ever have Dick Masterson on the show? This is how I was first introduced for you. Kisses for Jimmy Hart pride flag. Oh, that took a turn.
That is so nice, Tanner. We should get on Dick. Dick's really funny, but the problem with
we
Dick,
should get on Dick.
Well, okay. Oh, you would love Dick. You went to Princeton, where all the pedos go. So yeah, you would. That would stick out to you, Dick.
Dick Masterson went to Princeton University.
No, I'm saying everybody at your school is sharing child porn, dude. That's why. So that's why you
child
guys
corn.
Whatever, dude. Whatever. My point is, Dick Masterson is fighting with Eric, so we can't have him.
Not only did Eric cancel the debate, but it also seems he went to Blaze management, and they also prevented Alex from inviting certain individuals on the show. Despite being the one to wig out, Eric felt that the debate was below him, as Ethan wasn't appearing in person, and he'd only want to deal with him, man to man, without the cameras on.
I asked if the person was appearing in studio, because if there's something that we need to discuss, oh, absolutely, we can discuss this in like, you know, man to man, and then there's no need for a show or anything, because that's not what it's about. If it's legitimately about solving problems and not some drama farming.
However, Eric's opposition to Alex Stein's show wasn't just because of the appearance with Ethan. It seems Eric had a deep concern festering inside of him. When asked on YouTube about not appearing on Alex's program, he referred to it as a minstrel show. Minstrel shows were racially charged performances often made by white actors in blackface, such as this one by Al Jolson. In other words, Eric was offended by the jokes made by Alex and his co-hosts, deeming them racist. Eric July is the only one who seems to think Alex...
What's that?
So those have not aged well.
No, not at all.
Stein's show is racist. Media Matters, a far-left organization with deep ties to the Clintons and George Soros, also seems to believe that as well. They wrote this article about Alex. While Alex has yet to perform in blackface, he has had on a few guests, such as his wife's boyfriend, Ontarius, that were used as the brunt of his jokes.
You're looking for Dave? I brought my wife's boyfriend. Boyfriend in hold on.
It's okay for Alex to go and do stuff like that, but God forbid Riley go and do something like that.
This was way worse than what Riley did.
Yeah, exactly. So it's okay for Alex Stein to go do all that, but what Riley did is terrible.
Darius, have you ever been in a poly relationship?
Not yet. Not yet.
Are you trying to get into one?
Hell yeah. I panhandle for it.
Do you think Darius is attractive, Diana?
I think you're cute. Yeah, especially with lotion all over your head. You're precious.
Is this somebody that you would
precious.
you would honestly entertain if he showed up on your dating app and
No.
you would swipe right?
No. I just think he's like precious, but like not for my entertainment. You know what I'm saying?
So he's like a special needs individual that you have.
No, he's just like I would go like bowling with him.
Why? Because he's black? I mean, why don't you like him?
Well, but there are other reasons too. Yeah.
There's other things that are bad about him. That
No, there's nothing bad about it. Like I would go bowling or
Because black guys are good athletes. Why is it always about sports? Okay, it feels racist.
You wanna go bowling after?
I'll allow it.
See?
Diana,
you
can
know.
can he speak freely? First Amendment.
Yeah.
What if you could do anything with Diana in the world? What would be your fantasy
my
to do with
God.
her?
Keep it PG. This is a Nickelodeon show.
No, it is a kid show, but tell her your fantasy. If you could do whatever you want with
No, this is a
sexy
Nickelodeon
Diana,
show.
what would you do?
I'd love to have a
Slice of cheesecake.
Diana, let him speak.
a chocolate pudding bath with nice strawberries and whipped cream.
Cool. Let's keep that a fantasy.
Ethan, are you familiar with Charleston White, one of the most controversial black men to ever be born?
I've become familiar with him. It's about time I knew the South was going to rise again.
Yes.
Oh, Charles.
Yes, son of a Confederate.
Ethan, are you married? You single? What's your dating life like?
Married. I got 3 kids.
Yeah, and so is Charleston. He's married, but I'm telling you
With
guys.
2 kids, but I call
When
my
Ethan
wife
says
call-
stuff
I
like
answer-
that, that's why I'm kind of like with the whole like master racers thing. And I don't know, were you watching Trash Cast that night when he was going over people complaining about the name?
He should see. I told him it should have been CG Masters Racer. 'Cause that's better of a joke, and it's more like no, because they're just CG Masters, the racers. You know.
Well, I know it's like kind of like, the PC master race thing.
Yeah.
No one associates that with race, but when you're doing like Comicsgate and you're taking into account what people assume Comicsgate is, I'm like I didn't really think that was a good idea to name that.
Well, it's not
And
a
then
good idea, but it's.
And then
No.
Ethan says stuff like that, which I know he is kidding and he doesn't actually think that, but I'm like, don't complain about people like saying stuff like
you're
that.
talking
if
about
you're
the
gonna-
South? Well, I mean, you got a guy wearing a Confederate headdress on and all this stuff, and so it's a joke,
Yeah, like I was like, I know it's a joke, but it's like people that don't like him are gonna assume it's not and are gonna complain about it. That's why I'm kind of like,
Well,
when
those
Ethan's
people.
like, I can't believe people think we're racist, by
Those
calling
people
it
are
master
gonna.
racers.
Those people are gonna say that no matter what you say and do. So
Well,
You
yeah,
shouldn't,
yeah.
no matter what. That's the way I look at it. Like, I don't know.
But I'm just like, don't complain about people saying, "Oh, how can they say that we're racist?" and then like say stuff like that, you know. Not that I agree with them thinking it is, because I don't think they are, but
Babe,
that's
I'm in
just my
here at
opinion.
the strip club, and I got these two little cute, fine girls around me, and they bothering me. And I'll be home in a little bit, babe.
I don't go to strip clubs. I just don't do that. I don't.
Okay, Ethan's gay. Well, I didn't know Ethan was gay. I live at a strip club.
That's where I take that's where I take my tithe money. That's where I pay tithes. Tithes and offerings go
I
to the
can't
strip club.
see Alex
No, but yeah,
Stein
let's
going
be
to a
real, because
strip
I actually
club.
do vibe with Ethan. Let's break the kayfabe. Strip clubs are a bad place, but you were talking about which strip club you were talking about? They got
No,
the
they're
Michael
not.
Jordan for the Washington Wizards strip club. You know what I'm talking about? You're saying one of these strip clubs, they got the oldest women in it, but they're the best dancers.
Dallas Gentlemen. Yeah, it's like an old retirement home of girls, 33, 35. Shit, I already left the strip club life, but they still bodies look good. And if you young, you won't make no money there. They all the old girls team up against the young girls and run them off.
Are they tricking though? Or are they doing?
Yeah, they tricking. All strip clubs tricking. They can't make no money if they ain't tricking.
How do you think the internet responded to Eric July? Find out soon on The Great Chicken Apocalypse. But first, watch as Camelot shreds the Griftosphere.
The person I'm talking about is all in the replies of every female like that's in their genre or niche, trying to have sex with them. Every girl.
Wait, what's the penis thing?
Because they can't have sex with people in real life because they look like a melting freaking monster snowman.
It's next time on Who is the Melting Snowman?
Ho, 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 ho. Who is the melting snowman? That's interesting. Well, this was fun.
Oh,
You're breaking up. Oh, sorry. I had the wrong screen on. You sharing something? What you doing, Evan? Hello?
there we go.
There's two of you?
I accidentally backed out of the stream.
Oh. Well, there's two of you now. See? Oh, never mind. There you are. It went away. So,
Okay. I was about to say. That was weird.
what is this? Galaxy gas? What the hell? That's not good. That's not good. Don't do that stuff. It's bad stuff.
What was it?
Nitrous.
Like the thing that comes out of people's cars when they want to go fast?
Yeah, or the thing that they use at the dentist office, laughing gas.
Oh. That might have been what that guy was sniffing on his sock earlier.
No, that wouldn't be on a stock. It's like some Rama or some other stuff, that they would put on. So I don't know, but
I really want to see what's gonna happen tomorrow if he comes on. I'm gonna be like anticipating it.
well, we'll see if he wants the link. I'll send it to him. But that's about it. So I think I'm gonna call it an evening and head on out.
Okay.
So thanks everybody for stopping by. It's been it's been a wild time, and You know, just play a little something here real quick, and this is my little trailer for the penguin that we watched earlier today. I made. You can see the, you can see there's Dave, there's me. Let's see, there's Dave and me. There's Dave. There's Dave, it's the penguin. So yeah, I was very happy with that. You know, I think it came out real nice. So.